Thank you. I'm really excited to be here. I'll start with a number 2, but it's a little more alarming. It's minus 26.8%. That is what happens to performance when we focus on weaknesses. That number was found by a study conducted by the Corporate Leadership Council in 2002. And it was a huge study. It looked at over 19,000 employees in nearly 30 countries. So, if you were a CEO, would you let your managers do something that decreases performance by 26.8%? No, right? So why do we still do it? There is a huge bias towards negativity. You know, our brains, they have evolved to focus on what's wrong and then try to fix it. That's how we're wired. So today, I want to invite you to a paradigm shift. A shift that leaves behind that usual focus on what's missing and starts to appreciate what we have. I believe that this is the path to maximum creativity, and not only because I'm a psychologist and I'm in love with human potential, also because I've seen that principle work over and over again in business. So this is about leaving behind 26.8%. And this bias towards negativity shows in very many areas. You know, for example, Christina, she's a student in a coaching class, and she said to me the other day, you know what, I've been studying English my whole life, and I'm lousy, and now I want to change jobs, and I know I have to fix that. Well, that can only be part of the solution. Because you know what, even if she put even more time and more energy into fixing that weakness, well, she will become better, yes, but she will hardly become a translator. And there is no need to it. You know, she has experience of years in consultancy. She has great interpersonal skills. And she's becoming a coach, right? So is the English really that relevant? You want to get to the point where you're hired for what you have. This unique combination of strength and skills and character traits. There is an upside to being who you are. You just have to find it. And you know what, I know that empowering strengths, it's a relatively new concept, but only now we're starting to have this body of evidence that shows that actually strengths are key to very many variables that predict peak performance. So we know that from higher resilience to less stress, higher stress resistance, to more engagement, higher customer satisfaction, people even feel happier when they use their strength. But obviously, as usual, common sense knew it before. I want you to think about Mozart, Rafa Nadal, Madonna, Apple. We talked about Apple before. They became world-class because they focused on their talent. And careful with the Madonna example, right? She's a singer, okay. But she is not, well, the best voice in the world. But it didn't matter. She didn't focus on fixing the voice, make it perfect, I want to be alone on the stage with a guitar. No, that's not her. She focused on her stage performance, the transformation, this constant being someone else. From virgin to vamp, she was it all, and that's why we love her. And also Rafa Nadal, he was number 1 despite his really average serve. His power, his physical power, his mental power made him number 1. And the same goes for Apple. When they launched the first iPhone, it was not the best phone in the world. Not in connectivity, not in battery life, but it was different. It was exclusive, you know, it was sexy. People just wanted it. It has this amazing user experience. You know, people with an iPhone, they go like, my precious. Don't want to give it away. That's what I'm talking about. So Apple built an empire on their strength of igniting desire. And Peter Drucker said that the only purpose of organization is to make strength productive and weaknesses irrelevant. So the Corporate Leadership Council in the study I mentioned before found this, 36.4%. When leaders focus on their employees' strength, performance increases by 36.4%. And I've seen that principle work. You know, I worked for a small software company here in Spain, and they were growing like 50%, 75% in the beginning of the Spanish crisis. You know how? The CEO just refused to consider being small, a weakness. And he said, I don't care what we can't do. I know what we can do. We can do innovation. We can do customer satisfaction better than anyone else. And bit by bit, they took away the market share from all the big competitors. And today, they are market leaders in their sector. That is when David can win against Goliath, because he focuses on intelligence versus physical power. And so, how about you? Do you want to do that? Do you feel that's a good idea? So how do we do it? How do we identify strength in ourselves? Well, there's obviously many tools out there, many approaches, and the one that I prefer because I think it's really complete is one created by Alex Linley and his colleagues from CAP, the Center of Applied Positive Psychology in the UK. And what they do, they focus on 3 dimensions. They focus on performance, on energy, and on use. So you basically ask 3 questions. Am I good at it? Is it energizing? And then, how often do I use that? Because strengths are those ways of feeling and acting and thinking that you're really good at and that give you that great sense of energy. And then you get most out of them when you use them as much as adequate. And that means in the right moment, in the right amount, and of course, in new and different ways. So think about it. What are you good at? When do you feel that boost of energy that comes with using a strength? That's what I did. When I decided I wanted to go for a career change from international business into therapy and coaching, I had asked myself, what do I love doing? Well, I love listening to people. I love helping them realize their potential. I had kind of always done that, and I had gotten the feedback that I was quite good at it. So what happens now is that I can use my strength at work. And it's wonderful. And I don't know, the other day I had a really busy day. I think I had 3 or 4 sessions in the morning, and then I went from 3 to 9 nonstop with clients, and sometimes that's intense. But there's no drain. I get out of the office at 9 p.m. and there's Alex, our secretary. She goes like, how can you have so much energy? And there's no drugs involved, I promise. It's just that my job, it allows me to use my strength, and it's really wonderful. So another thing, apart from the boost in energy, you can also use strength to compensate weaknesses. And I must be honest with you, I have a little more big weakness in order. Some people will nod heads now because they know me. I know that. So if I had a job that needed strict order the whole day, that would be a real drain to me, and I would be horrible. I would do horrible. So what I do today, knowing that, is I use one of my biggest strengths, and that's time optimization, because I can't get away from it. I need some order to be a good psychologist and coach and trainer. So as long as I structure my sessions in time slots, and then I know what I have to do in each of them, then I'm fine. And the whole thing automatically becomes a little more ordered. It works for me. The moment that I realize that I didn't have to fix that weakness and can focus on the strength instead, that was such a milestone for the quality of my life and the quality of my work. Another opportunity is to adopt strength-based teamwork, and that really means that you reach the goals of your team or your family by giving everybody the task that fits best in with their set of strengths, and I really encourage you to give it a try. It's amazing. We just did it at IEPP with our training department, and we're all psychologists, more or less the same profile, but we used to do a little bit of everything. So now we found out, no, there's someone who's actually better calling potential, like prospects, someone who really enjoys the networking event, someone who's really good with a PowerPoint presentation, with a proposal to clients, and then someone who's happy just walking around the street and handing out flyers, talking to people. We all got it covered. We're much happier. We got much less drain, and I'm sure we'll see the increase in performance soon. And the last one goes to companies who might be struggling with budget issues these days. You know that we've been promising pay rises and bonuses as a mean to retain our talent and to motivate them. So maybe today we can't do it anymore because we have budget issues. So consider this. Doing what you love can be so much more rewarding than anything else. You imagine in your company, you help your clients, you help your employees identify their strengths, and then you give them opportunity to use them more. That can mean so much more to them than just another pay rise. I have a client, he's he's a software engineer, and then he's very creative, and he's good at that, but he works in finance, and it really doesn't work, so he's a bit demotivated. If his boss came and said, you know what, I know you're creative, why didn't you join our innovation meetings? I know you can contribute something huge. That is leveraging talent. So, even, we talked about kids today, we saw this wonderful little girl. Imagine what this perspective can mean for your kids, for their self-esteem, for their education. Incorporating this into mainstream education will take a while, it's work in progress. But you can shift your focus today from what your children lack to all those qualities that they already have. There is a huge case for empowering strength, not only in business, but remember this, at 36.4%. So what I want you to take away from today is this. When we identify the strength that we have, and then we creatively combine them to achieve excellence, then adversity will turn into opportunity. And fixing weaknesses, there needs to be a paradigm change. We need to realize that fixing our weaknesses can be really harmful, and at best, will just make us average. But if we identify a strength, and we empower them and we build them, then we will tap into the full potential that we have. There is so much you can do with your strength. There is so much you can achieve, have more fun, better results, better energy. And that's a big idea. So thank you very much for spreading the word.